Today I'm just going to be working on the rear axles, a few things in the front trunk area. Today is not going to be the first drive. I've done a lot this morning just getting the axles ready. One of them was not even rebuilt, so I had to go through the whole driver's side axle. And I'm also low on oil, waiting on some more break-in oil to come in. Now that the filter is there with the bypass filter and the full flow filter, it's down about a quart. Don't want to run it anymore, so I'm going to wait until Monday before I can get more of that oil in. Now that my car is getting a little heavier, especially in the back, I have these rubber doohickeys, you know, custom made for garage time, directly from the Czech Republic. These are going to spread the load out from underneath the lift pads, because right now I'm lifting right on the pinch welds. So I'm going to cut a little slot in these, and then that's going to kind of disperse the load a little bit, just because it's starting to get a little heavier now, and I don't want to crush the pinch welds. I've already fixed the pinch welds in the front. The front's pretty light, but this is mostly to protect the rear. A little smoky in here. It's like being on Hoonigan. See the hockey pucks right here. It's cut down a little on the inside, and it's just, you can see it's offset just a little bit. Pretty happy with that. This sway bar bracket is highly reinforced, so if yours is not, it's possible you could bend it. So you might want to move your pickup a little closer towards the front, but I've jacked up my entire car on that sway bar pivot, so that's not gonna bend at all. So now I have access to the axles, and I've already trial fit the axles. I know they're the right ones. I'm just going to spend a little time cleaning up this surface, because this is an important surface that gets torqued down pretty tight, and I don't want any corrosion on the CV joints either. I was using a little bit of the super clean foam. This stuff is pretty strong. Dental pick and the wire wheel makes this pretty clean, so that's ready to wipe off and install. Just going to let it soak a little bit, kind of keep rotating it around, and it just keeps that foam right on there. It's probably unlikely that Porsche techs back in the day would use like dental picks and Q-tips and, you know, like polish the flanges and stuff, but that's the advantage of kind of an owner build and owner maintenance, is you're able to just do that little bit extra. So hopefully these will last a long time. I also cleaned the bolts and the hardware really well. I ended up putting it in my ultrasonic cleaner. It came out great. But this is an important fastener because it holds your axles in the car, and because they rotate and they're constantly under, you know, acceleration, deceleration, suspension up, down, they're constantly getting tightened and loosened, tightened and loosened. So you need to make sure that they don't come undone. And so proper torque is the most important thing, but there are some features in the Porsche design that helps them from coming undone. So this plate right here, it's kind of like a hardened washer. This actually prevents the washer from rotating because there's two of them. So this is kind of a locking feature here. Plus it uses these special, oops, I just dropped it. They use these special washers that have little teeth in them, and they're called, I think they're called Schnorr, I don't know how you say it, but Schnorr washers, and they bite into the head of the bolt, which is really small because it's a socket head cap screw, and then it bites into here. And you can see little evidence on this hardened washer where it bites into it. And everything is designed to prevent it from undoing. And they work out great. There is another brand called Nordlock, and they're really good for high vibration requirements where things are becoming tightened and loosened and stuff. So I ordered some. Unfortunately, I got the wrong size. So before I had gotten my hardware all cleaned up, I just eyeballed it in the bucket and I thought they were M8. Well, they're not M8, they're M10s. I ended up getting the Nordlocks in M8, and they're very, very similar in design to the Schnorr washers, except for they're two pieces and they have a little bit more bite to them. And then the washers, they interlock with each other in the center. So, and they also have like a conical shape to them. So it keeps the bolt under tension. Even if it was to cycle in and out, it doesn't allow it to come loose. So I am going to install it with the stock system for now. And then next time I place an order, I got these from McMaster, but I will order the longer bolts and I'll order the bigger washers from Nordlock. And that'll be an upgrade on a future time. Okay, everything went well with torquing the axle fasteners. They felt really nice. Nothing felt squishy or snapped or anything, so that's good. Got all the way to 30 foot-pounds. The next item on the little short list, I've actually run out of paper on my big list, but I do have a little short list, and it's the fuel tank vent. I've already connected the line from the tank to the fitting on the fender. It's on the driver's side, and from there, it's going to go into this aluminum guy. This is a rollover vent. So it has a little check valve in there. So if it was to roll over, you can't blow air through there. It means the fuel will not spill out. But it does allow air to come in. So as you consume fuel, it's going to allow air to come in so it doesn't create a vacuum. It's also got a little net in there so you don't get any debris in your tank or anything like that. I got the gas tank vent installed and the rollover valve. It's as high as possible in the car. It's right up against the driver's fender. That's in case, like if you're to take a turn and fuel sloshes up the vent, it's not gonna just pour out. Next item on the list is these gaskets. This is for the fuel filler to tank junction. That's a custom fuel filler that I've done for the in the trunk filler area. Also, I have this gasket. This is for the fuel level sender. I had an electronic file for this one when I created this hole pattern. I cut that out with my plasma cutter in steel. So I just used the same hole pattern to create this gasket electronically. It was cut out on a laser. I have access to a laser at the community workshop I belong to. So I made 2 of these. I probably only need 1. And while I was at it, I made this gasket. This is a stock gasket for the fuel sender, but while I was there, I did this one too. I just took the bracket that this thing goes, the bracket that goes over this, and I put it on my scanner. I scanned it, I traced over the holes with my computer software, and then that was able to give me the file I needed to cut this out with the laser. So let's get these installed. Yeah, there are 2 holes that I did not put in, which are here, or 3 holes. 2 for the fuel pump bracket, the hanger, and then 1 for the electrical power to there. This is a machined nylon bushing here, prevents the power from shorting out. So I need to cut a hole for that. So I'm going to take off this wire, trace it on the back of this, and then poke a hole with the punch, and then we can put it in. See there, all the holes are lining up really nice. And I will put a protective cover over this one. I'm gonna have to build a little tab that goes over, because you cannot have this shorting out. There's 12 volts power right here on this exposed wire. And I have all these threads taped up, but this tape has been on here so long, it is very difficult to get off. Yeah, this fuel sender, I have no idea if it works. In fact, I know it's missing. It's supposed to have like an aluminum shroud. I actually have that piece, but I don't want to take the time to, rebuild this whole thing. I just want to keep fuel from splashing out. So I'm going to put this in. I know that these holes are in a funky pattern, so I just need to find out which way it'll fit onto these studs. Voila. So I just need some washers and some nuts. I may not have those, and I got to look for these screws too. So this will just hold it here temporarily. Check back in a few days for the first drive. My short list is getting shorter. The only thing I have left is I'm going to put the seatbelt in. I have to put the license plate on the back, which means I'm going to put the rear bumpers back on. The rear bumper is not painted. And I have to tighten like all the steering rack bolts and basically go through the whole car, make sure everything's tightened, the calipers, all the safety stuff, and the rear taillight lenses. And that is kind of my short list of what I need to do. So I would check back in the next 3-4 days for that first drive video. Like I said, make sure you're subscribed and hit that little bell notification. This one, you're not going to want to miss.